Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Singh. Topping our newscast, an escaped inmate from the Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility and Detention Center in St. Croix has been caught and remanded to custody. According to an incident report, detainee Miguel Cruz was found missing during a morning shift change at 6:33 a.m. Tuesday morning. A search of the detention center and general facility was made, and it was determined that Cruz was not on property. Here's Director Mulgrave with details.
At approximately 6:33 a.m. this morning, that inmate count, it was discovered that inmate Cruz was not in his unit and he seemed to have left the facility. A search of the facility was performed and it was determined that he definitely was not on the facility. At approximately 0900, tactical response and our special operation team was organized and they left the facility, and within about 30 minutes were able to locate, secure, and return Mr. Cruz back to the facility where he was checked out by medical and isolated into a special unit. At this time in our reports, we have not determined exactly how he was escaped from the facility, but our investigation team is working on that right now. And presently, I would just like to thank my team, Special Operations, the tactical team, for the exceptional job they have done today.
Mulgrave would also like to thank the VIPD for their assistance. Meanwhile, Mulgrave announces the appointment of two key individuals to the Bureau's leadership team. The appointees in that of Mildred Trotter as warden of the Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility and Detention Center on St. Croix, and Jimmy Warren Jr. as Territorial Chief Inspector. He says they are key components to the improved future of the agency. Mildred Trotter has vast experience in corrections, having worked with the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Department as a sergeant, Bibb County Sheriff's Department as a deputy sheriff, and Central State Prison as a correctional officer. Warden Trotter served in the U.S. Army and received numerous honors and awards, including the Southwest Asia Service Medal and National Defense Medal. In other news, Tashimo Scatliff, 33, pleaded guilty Monday in district court in St. Thomas to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Scatliff has been detained since he was indicted in August. According to the plea agreement filed with the court on February 2, 2015, Virgin Islands Police Department officers responded to the Paul M. Pearson Housing Community after receiving a complaint from Building 7 regarding a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, officers observed Scatliff leaving Building 7 and were notified that Scatliff had a firearm. Investigation resulted in the retrieval of the firearm and casing in the area, a determination that the casing was fired from the firearm, and the findings of Scatliff's DNA on the firearm. Governor Kenneth Mapp has appointed Mrs. Teresa Forup Ali to the Governor Juan Louis Hospital and Medical Center Board of Directors. The appointment is for a 3-year term, which she will serve until the appointment of her successor. Mrs. Forup is an accountant and certified payroll specialist. She is a graduate of St. Croix Central High School with an associate's degree in accounting, a bachelor's degree in business administration, and a master's degree in business administration from UVI. A prompt and favorable confirmation will enhance the board's ability to meet its busy agenda and serve the people of the Virgin Islands, stated Governor Mapp in his correspondence to Senate President Neville James. Well, as the Hovenza trial continues, the Virgin Islands government is widening its investigation, reaching out to the South American nation that owns a chunk of Hovenza. Earlier this month, the Office of the Virgin Islands Attorney General requested information from Venezuela regarding the Hovenza shutdown. News2's April Knight has that story.
The Virgin Islands government is taking the Hovenza fight to Venezuela. Earlier in October, acting VI Attorney General Claude Walker served a subpoena to Venezuela to explain its role in what his office calls the illegal abandonment of the refinery owned and operated by Hess Corporation. The South American nation owns PDVSA, which has owned half of the entity financing and operating the St. Croix Hovensa facility since 1998. The other half of that entity that operated the refinery is owned by a subsidiary of Hess. The Virgin Islands government already filed lawsuits against Hess, including a $1.5 billion suit that represents benefits to VI employees from 2012 to 2022. The St. Croix plant had to go through major renovations to process the high-sulfur crude oil from PDVSA, according to Government House. When Venezuela fully owned PDVSA in 2009, the country became a less attractive partner for Hess. According to Walker, the VI government will investigate Venezuela's conduct with regards to shutting down the plant in 2012, devastating the VI economy, especially St. Croix, years after. The subpoena, according to Government House, seeks information and documents relating to the shutdown, activities related to the maintenance of the refinery that might have caused environmental concerns, as well as any agreements with Hess or other parties that have benefited financially from the refinery. A response to the subpoena is expected on November 2nd. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And the damages in that $1.5 billion lawsuit will be tripled under the Virgin Islands Criminally Influenced Corrupt Organizations Law. Acting Commissioner Randolph Bennett of the Virgin Islands Property and Procurement would like to remind the public that purchases that obligate the government of the Virgin Islands by any department or agency without a written approved purchase order by the Commissioner of Property and Procurement or his designee is deemed a confirming order, and confirming orders are illegal. The Virgin Islands Code, he says, permits the imposing of fines and imprisonment for violators. Effective immediately, all departments and agencies shall submit to the department a list of all confirming orders for services rendered, contracts, and for goods or services by Monday, November 16, 2015. You can call Ms. Letitia Blyden for more information at PNP, and that number is 340-774-0828, extension 230. The Senate Committee on Finance met on Tuesday and dealt with a measure that seeks to expand the intended use of proceeds of the 2012 Police Fleet Project. They also discussed a bill that would set aside customs duty monies for the repair of roads in the territory. Here's more.
We have a whole laundry list of departments and agencies here in the Virgin Islands that need additional funding to help carry out the basic service that they're mandated to do. And we have $13 million every year that we're not getting. Hijacked, gone. And if you eliminate the custom duty, then that custom duty money would recirculate in our economy.
Lawmakers on Monday stayed in chambers late into the night to tackle a couple of bills that were vetoed by Governor Kenneth Mapp. One of those bills is the reform bill for the government employees' retirement system that's intended to save the agency from fiscal collapse. News 2's April Knight has details.
Lawmakers said yes to a corrected version of the GRS reform bill after Governor Kenneth Mapp sent back a veto of the original bill submitted by the Senate. The bill, once enacted, would enforce sweeping changes to the retirement system, including changing the retirement age from 60 to 65. The original bill was vetoed by Governor Mapp. According to him, it could have caused irreparable damage to the investment portfolio of GRS. But Monday night's vote was not a unanimous decision. 10 senators said yes to the corrected GRS bill, 4 said no, while 1 declined to vote.
The agenda for the session was not provided at noon of the Wednesday before session. A bill was performed without the involvement of Madam Vice President. And Madam Vice President was acting president of the legislature. She's not a doormat.
Voting in favor of the corrected bill were Senators Marvin Blyden, Jean Ford, Novell Francis, Clifford Graham, Justin Harrigan, Myron Jackson, Neville James, Armando Rocky Liburd, Samuel Sanis, and Kurt Viale. Voting no were Senators Kenneth Gittens, Terrence Nelson, Tregenza Roach, and Jeanette Millen-Young.
The majority makes rules, takes time to put the rules together, presents them to the minority, but they already have enough votes to adopt them, so it doesn't really matter what the minority thinks. And then when it's necessary, deemed by the majority, then the majority says, let's not follow the rules.
Lawmakers who voted in favor of the bill essentially said they're up against a wall and they need to act or risk affecting thousands of active and retired government employees.
By no means this is one of those bills that it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be pleasing to all, but again, what do you do? What's the answer?
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
The corrected GERS bill will again be forwarded to the governor for his review and approval. We will keep you updated on its status. Meanwhile, just a quick note, Governor Mapp traveled out of the territory today, Tuesday, October 20th. He will be attending a series of meetings and will return to the territory Thursday, October 22nd. During these 2 days, Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter will serve as acting governor. Well, here's an update on this fire. At 4:17 a.m. on Monday, units from Hotel Company responded to a 911 emergency in regards to a structural fire at number 9 Estate Content at the Andrew Auto Repair Garage. Firefighters found a commercial garage fully engulfed in flames. They battled and extinguished the blaze within 4 hours.
Fire personnel conducting the overall and overhaul and survey operation of the property. The contact with the acid investigation unit to report to the scene. As of this time, the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Well, as we mentioned on Tuesday, Senator Kenneth Gittens is calling for increased marine patrol after a boating accident on Saturday, October 17th at 10:30 p.m. Meanwhile, friends and supporters have created a GoFundMe page. Please log on to help. The info is right there on the screen. Crew members of the SV Prowler, a local fishing vessel, suffered injuries after running aground a reef on the western coast of St. Thomas. 7 crew members were rushed to the Schneider Hospital to receive medical treatment, having sustained various injuries ranging from lacerations, abrasions, a broken leg, minor contusions, and various injuries to the head, neck, and collarbone. The incident occurred after a fishing tournament located in Puerto Rico. Turning our attention overseas, the FBI is investigating claims a hacker breached the personal emails of the country's top spy. Andy Rose reports.
CIA Director John Brennan and Secretary of Homeland Security Jay Johnson are just 2 of the high-profile government officials a hacker claims to have targeted.
It's very much, I think, a risk for these individuals to have their private accounts hacked into. Even if it's not classified information, they still may have personal things that they don't want out in the public ethosphere.
The hacker says he was motivated both by politics and by the desire to shame the government. In a statement to CNN, he said, quote, "It was really because the government are killing innocent people. They also fund Israel for killing innocent people." According to a law enforcement official, it does not appear that any classified information was accessed. While the breaches were to their personal accounts, the hacker claims to have accessed Brennan's 47-page application for his security clearance.
The takeaway from this is don't use your private emails. Don't use things that a hacker can get at like that. You need to be behind the government firewall.
Cybersecurity continues to be a high priority for the U.S. This comes just days after the arrest of a 20-year-old man accused of hacking the personal information of more than 1,300 U.S. military members. Authorities say he gave that information to ISIS.
IS has said that they will commit themselves to combating their infidel enemies wherever they are present. That also includes online.
I'm Andy Rose reporting.
Meanwhile, keeping an eye on the economy, consumers fueled by job growth, cheaper gas, and higher home values would drive the U.S. economy through a global slump. That was the widespread hope just a few months ago. Now, doubts are growing that the United States can withstand economic pressures flowing from overseas. Economies in China, Canada, Brazil, and Europe are struggling. Canada, the largest U.S. trading partner, is in recession. China's economy grew 6.9% in the third quarter, the weakest rate since the global financial crisis. Here is the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch, taking a look at those numbers. Everything down. The Dow down 13, NASDAQ 2450, and S&P 500 too. Coming up on News 2, it's National School Bus Safety Week, and the theme is Be Smart, Be Seen, I Wait in a Safe Place. Tune in for updates, and we will be sharing some tips throughout the rest of the week. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Last Friday, October 16th, Governor Mapp signed an executive order to prepare the territory for the impacts of climate change. The executive order provides for the commencement of a territorial climate change initiative and facilitates close cooperation among the federal government, government of the VI, the private sector, and the wider community. Governor Mapp signed the order recognizing that the impacts of climate change are adversely affecting ecosystems, communities, economies, and public health, with the U.S. VI experiencing excessively high temperatures and increasingly severe droughts. Governor Mapp will establish the U.S. Virgin Islands Climate Change Council that will develop a U.S. Virgin Islands policy for climate change adaptation. Well, all vehicles must come to a complete stop when a school bus stop arms and flashing lights are activated. Just one of the rules some motorists are not keeping in mind, according to many bus drivers. It's National School Bus Safety Week, and the theme is Be Smart, Be Seen, I Wait in a Safe Place. According to the American School Bus Council, school buses are designed to be safer than passenger vehicles in avoiding crashes and preventing injury. To ensure the safety of our children, the Department of Education promotes safety education.
I go into the schools and have assemblies from K through 8th grade, giving instructions as to how to be safe on the school bus, how to be safe on the bus stops while they're waiting for the school bus.
The motoring public is reminded that all vehicles must come to a complete stop when school bus stop arms and flashing lights are activated.
You know, we have a lot of times that people just keep driving, and that's a hazard for children.
They say on occasion, motorists ignore these safety mechanisms put in place on school buses, creating dangerous situations for our children.
The red lights first comes on. The amber light warning motorists that they should get ready to stop. And then the red light comes on so that they know we stop and we're letting children off or on. And at that time, no vehicle should be moving. All motorists should be at a stop, and they should stop at least 50 feet from the bus.
What other important tips both students and passengers need to keep in mind?
First of all, they need to be there at least 5 minutes before the bus gets on the stop. And they should be in an orderly fashion. We also teach our children or students that when they come off the bus that they need to stay out of the danger zone, and the danger zone is 10 feet all around the bus, back, front, and on both sides. We also train those children not to walk under the bus too close up that the driver can't see them. They should make eye contact with the driver when they're crossing, so that there are times when he happened to look in the mirror and he see a car might be coming full speed and not stopping, that he'd be able to alert them. Wherever you see bus stops, you have to look for those children because they're not paying attention to traffic. They're in the play mode most of the time, so we are asking the motorists to be alert.
And department officials say school bus service will be suspended to any area if the safety or students, bus drivers, or school buses is threatened due to the Halloween pranks that already started. And Count on 2 will have more tips throughout the rest of the week. In case you are wondering why the Norwegian getaway cruise ship remained in port later than usual, well, the West Indian Company announced 2 port schedule changes this week. The Norwegian getaway departs the Charlotte Mali port at 10 p.m. tonight, Tuesday, October 20th. Meanwhile, Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas will arrive in St. Thomas at 7:45 a.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, and depart at 7 p.m. as scheduled. The ship will arrive earlier than usual because it will not call on the Bahamas due to the ongoing effects of Hurricane Joaquin. Meanwhile, Virgin Islands Port Authority's Executive Director Carlton Dow said he received notification that Celebrity Cruises has canceled its October 25th visit to St. Croix. The ship was scheduled to berth at the Anne E. Abramson Marine Facility in Frederiksted. Dow said that no details were provided explaining the reason for that cancellation. A team of mental health professionals are in the territory spreading the word about mental health, as we reported, including Dr. Vincentia Constantin, who has a PhD in philosophy and educating students with disabilities and mental health counseling, Jacques Letron, who is a licensed mental health clinical nurse practitioner and a specialist in adolescent self-esteem builder and author, and VI native, Ms. Yasin Hall. She's a certified mental health crisis trauma instructor and author. The team has volunteered all of their services to the community. Events have already kicked off, and here are the remaining dates and places. On October 21st, the Julius Sproul and Moravian School, then the Boys and Girls Club, St. Croix, and the St. Luke AME Church from 6 to 8 p.m. On October 22nd, the team appears at the Arthur Richards Middle School, then Top Hat Gallery from 3 to 5 p.m. Then later, the Walk with the Women's Coalition. On October 23rd, it's the AFT St. Croix. October 24th, the Winston Rameau. And finally, on the 26th, they meet with the AFT of St. Thomas. Earlier this month, we announced the McHappy Day campaign to benefit My Brother's Workshop in St. Thomas on McHappy Day, which is on Friday, November 13th. All proceeds from every Big Mac sandwich purchase will be given to My Brother's Workshop, while additionally a campaign to benefit Lutheran Social Services in St. Croix is now on. Lutheran Social Services diligently administers to the needs of abused children, low-income seniors, persons with disabilities, and victims of natural disasters. In the last year, the campaign raised almost $5,000. So on McHappy Day, Friday, November 13th, all proceeds from every Big Mac sandwich purchased on St. Croix will be given to the Lutheran Social Services. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.